Good morning, everybody. We're here at Carrizo Plain National Monument. I guess the closest town I can think of is Maricopa. Anyway, this is says vast and quiet, ringed by abrupt mountain ranges. The Carrizo Plain supports a mix of plants and animal communities that once existed throughout the San Joaquin Valley. Protecting and enhancing these living resources will help ensure a balanced ecosystem, one that can persist for future generations to enjoy. Carrizo Plain National Monument is managed by Nature Conservancy, the Bureau of Land Management, the California Department of Fish and Game, who cooperate to maintain native species, interacting in a dynamic, fully functioning ecosystem, and to conserve natural and cultural resources while allowing research, recreation, and appreciation. Silver Lake is the largest remaining natural alkaline wetland in California. Hugging its shores is the alkaline sink community, nurturing the narrow band of salt-tolerant plants such as alkali heath and iodine brush. The saltbush scrub community is composed of spiny saltbush and other interesting salt-tolerant plants. Grasslands include alien grasses with a few rare native grasses still waving among them, and the native wildflowers that create swaths of color in the springtime after a good wet season. The plain has more rare and endangered vertebrae than any other place in California. The San Joaquin kit fox, giant kangaroo rat, blunt-nosed leopard lizard, and San Joaquin antelope squirrel live in this saltbush scrub and grassland habitats, still interacting as they have for thousands of years. I guess they have pronghorn antelope here too. So Caliente Peak would be that peak off there. Mount Pinos you can't see through the haze. Mount Pinos is 8,800 feet. Caliente is 5,100. And then we have the Trembler Range. That's this range here, with Midway Peak at 3,566. So anyway, I just thought you guys might want to see this. It's pretty desolate, and it doesn't look like there's any wetland left. I think this summer's been, last 2 summers have been just so brutal, it's dried it up. And what we have here is the remains of an ancient inland sea, and there is no drainage, so all the water that was in this is completely evaporated. So pretty much a lake bed now. And anyway, this is what you can see of the valley. And that's pretty much the full loop. So we're going to head back down to the bike and get back on the road. We're about 50 miles out of Maricopa, and that's back towards the south. We're going to head towards Mount Pinos and maybe find a campground there for tonight, but it's still pretty early in the day, so we'll see how we go. Otherwise, it's a run all the way into LA, which I don't think I want to do today. I might do it. It's a pretty good run, but anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go, and we're gonna continue on. All right, talk to you later. Aloha. Well, we're here at Soda Lake's visitor center. It doesn't look like there's anybody around, but it looks like there were some pretty cool things to check out. So I thought we would stop and just take a quick look-see. Oh, they have a map of the area. Goodwin Education Center. Oh, Soda Lake Road is only partially paved, so I guess we're going to get into some dirt here. Cool. So, interior Golden Bush. Soda Lake at 3,000 acres. Soda Lake is one of the largest undisturbed alkaline wetlands in the state. It provides important habitat for migratory birds such as black-necked stilts, avocets, killdeer, and an occasional white pelican. In the late 1800s, the lake bed was mined for significant mineral content found in the black mud beneath the salt crust. Because the lake is self-contained with no outlet, the water evaporates in the summer. The remaining salts form a glistening expanse that appears to ripple and sway in the heat. Only 9% consists of table salt. Another 9% are miscellaneous salts, while 82% is sodium sulfate, useful for preserving meats, cattle salt licks, and used in making detergents, soaps, and glass. In 1918, the Carrizo Chemical Company constructed a processing plant here that could recover 600 tons of sodium sulfate each month. After processing, the salts were sacked and hauled approximately 35 miles to McKitterick for distribution. San Andreas Fault, over 625 mile long, traverses the Carrizo from north to south near the base of the Trembler Range. So that's right along there. The fault marks the boundary of the North American Plate and the Pacific Plate. Pacific Plate moves northwest on average 3 to 5 centimeters per year. However, on the Carrizo, it builds up pressure until it releases energy in the form of a large earthquake. The last major earthquake in this region was the Fort Tejon earthquake in 1857, which moved the ground 30 feet horizontally and 3 feet vertically in a matter of seconds. Holy shit. Let's see, visit the San Andreas Fault at Wallace Creek along the Elkhorn Road, which runs along the base of the Trembler Range. Access Elkhorn Road from its junction with 7 Mile Road, just west of the junction of 7 Mile and Highway 58. Continue south on Dirt Road. The site is about a mile south on the intersection with Semler Road and a major power line crossing. See creeks that have been offset by motion along the fault. Oh, that would be kind of cool to check out. I'm not sure we've got the fuel to do it, but giant kangaroo rat, Tule elk. Oh, there are elk here. The Tule elk are one of the smallest of North American elk species. By the late 1860s, they were extirpated from California, except for a small locale in San Joaquin Valley. The population of Carrizo reintroduced in the early 80s. They can often be seen on the valley floor around Goodwin Education Center and adjacent foothills. Well, I'm not seeing anything. They've probably gone up to higher ground just because right now, just because it's so damn dry. Pronghorn is the fastest land animal in the Western Hemisphere. They are able to sustain speeds over 50 miles an hour for short distances. They were extirpated from San Luis Obispo and Kern counties until around 1910. They were reintroduced to the plain in the late 1980s. Okay. Giant kangaroo rat lives in an extended burrow complex known as the precincts, which are distinguished by their slightly raised mounds. Vegetation usually is lusher on their precincts as the animal modifies the soil properties upper right. After the plants have set seed, the giant kangaroo rat clip the vegetation off the precincts and catch the seeds, usually in large piles known as haystacks. After the seeds have cured, they store them underground, which sustain the kangaroo rat during the year and throughout the periods of drought. Okay, well, that's a worthwhile endeavor. Okay, painted rock. Well, let's see. I'm not seeing a painted rock. Okay. Maybe it's way over at the base. Oh, it's way over there. Okay, the sandstone formation at Painted Rock has long drawn the attention of visitors to Carrizo. About 3,000 to 4,000 years ago, Native Americans began to paint their sacred images within the alcove of the rock. Not surprisingly, the power of the place continues to enthrall visitors today. Spiritual leaders and other tribal members created the rock paintings as an expression of their cultural and religious beliefs. Please help us protect the rock. Okay. Grasslands of Carrizo Plain were farmed up to the late 1980s. The crop was usually grain sown during the fall in hope that winter rains would produce a crop. Sometimes the rain was insufficient and many farms failed over the years. Some farms at the north end of the valley, where rainfall was greater, still continue today. After harvest, the lands were grazed mostly by cattle, but some sheep. The two pictures above show equipment that you can visit by walking up the road at the rear of the Goodwin Educational Center. The picture at the left shows an early thrashing machine, and the picture on the right shows a vertical grain elevator that lifted grains to the pipes, which were once connected to grain tanks that were filled from above. More equipment is on display at Traver Ranch, photo below, about 20 miles south along Soda Lake. Okay, well, let's go take a look at, that's the grain tower, I guess. We're raising grain. Let's see, continuing legacy. The Carrizo Plain was a gathering place for the Chumash and other native people. Painted Rock was the sacred site of these Native Americans who lived there. Okay. Well, what a desolate place to live. I guess that one farm still hangs in. Or maybe not. Maybe it's just the trees are still look alive, so it looks alive. Anyway. Case. Well, it's starting to get warm today. Cletrak. Never heard of it. Looks way old. Maybe from the 30s, huh? These are the thrashing machines. Okay, well, that road's closed, so I'm not going to drive up to the rock. I would have, but anyway. So this is where we're at. So on this note, I think we're going to let everybody go, and you've seen what there is to see. Oh, here, farming chorizo. Dryland grain farming joined ranching as a main human use of chorizo plain in 1885, when the first homesteaders began to settle here. It was not till 1912, in the advent of mechanized agriculture, that large-scale farming became possible in the years between the two world wars. Vast acres of grasslands were cultivated, even though the chorizo and limited and unpredictable rainfall averages 8 to 10 inches per year made such ventures risky. The plow lines visible today along the foothill bordering the plain serve as a reminder of those former days. Harvesters like the ones here were cumbersome and difficult to operate, requiring a crew of up to 10 men. Yearly harvesters needed a team of 26 horses or mules. The machines operated through the 1940s, eventually being replaced by efficient thrashers. So, these are the thrashers. And apparently they weren't self-driving. Looks like it's got a tow, so they probably had to use the tractor to tow them. Alright, well, you can pick a middle of nowhere. This is pretty close to it. So anyway, I'm going to let you guys go, so we'll say aloha, and we'll see what else we stumble across here. Alright, aloha.